All right, so this next one is interesting. It's called Improving Jumptown, a Star Citizen Discussion. This is from Certified Gumbo. It's a new channel, doesn't have a ton of views. It came out on May 10th, and it seems like it's just going to be a video with like Star Citizen in the background, but him discussing the game a little bit. And I'm kind of interested in what he has to say. It was recommended by somebody in Twitch chat, so we'll have to see his opinion here.
What's up everybody, Coop here, back with another Star Citizen video, and this time we're going to be talking about Jumptown. While my first Jumptown experience was a blast and I made a lot of money, I couldn't help but notice that there's a lot to be desired to make the experience better for both lawful and unlawful players. I've had a lot of time to think of some ideas that I think would make Jumptown one of, if not the best, emergent gameplay experiences in all of gaming. But before I get into that, I would like to remind you all to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. The first and maybe the most obvious change I would like CIG to consider is making this a less scripted event. Because in order for Jumptown to really shine, it needs to be accessible 24/7, 365, but with a few caveats that will make this feasible from a gameplay perspective. Lastly, and most importantly...
Okay. Yeah, we've all heard this before. Yeah, maybe, but so what? Give the guy a chance. So I kind of disagree already, though. I think one of the things that made Jumptown special was that it was so rare. I think he's going to go into the fact that like we should be able to trigger Jumptown, which I do agree is true. But if we can trigger Jumptown, guys, let's discuss this for a second. It should be really hard. It should be really hard to do. Like the juice has to be worth the squeeze kind of thing. And I think if it's available all the time, it's not great. Like I was over Jumptown in the second time they did it because it was going on more often, and then they also kind of dialed back what we could get from it, and it was just kind of like, yeah, Jumptown triggering is supposed to be set by quanta supply and demand, not supply and demand. I think like we trigger it, yes, but we trigger it by like buying a lot of drugs or selling a lot of drugs there. So it needs to more dynamically have that insanely rare occurrence. We need to be the ones that do it, but we need to not be able to do it easily. And then I think it would be fun. All right, Jace,
this should largely be criminal underworld-oriented gameplay, with law enforcement trying to play catch-up. With the shift in focus to the criminal underworld, there will also be a need for an even bigger shift in the gameplay experience, starting with the operation of the narcotics labs. The established labs will initially be controlled by AI criminal organizations, allowing players and/or player-run organizations that have max rep with the controlling gang full run of these facilities. They will also be able to hire help from the controlling factions to help run the facility if needed. Alternatively, players can attempt a hostile takeover of these territories. However, the AI
Stop. This is the thing that we need to stop doing. I really believe this. We need to... I really feel like we, as Star Citizen fans, need to keep saying what is fun and what is not fun, but stop designing Star Citizen. Like, we're not game designers. Stop designing Star Citizen. You can literally say what is fun about Star Citizen, what is not fun about Star Citizen, what is fun about other games, and what is not fun about other games. But actually coming in and designing an entire new Jumptown is not a good practice for a member of the community. It is fun to do. Do not get me wrong. I appreciate it. It's fun to do. I like doing it too. But it is not going to get us anywhere. Right? It's not going to get us anywhere. But what I found fun about Jumptown and he's really getting into like AI and making this more of like a PvE type thing. Maybe reputation being involved would be more fun. Maybe it opens up the ability to unlock Jumptown, right? But the thing about that is once you reach that rep, it's hard for it to drop down. So are you just going to be running Jumptown all the time? Like, what made Jumptown special was that it was literally a marker. It was just a marker that sent everybody to one location, and whatever happened after that. That's what I found nice about Jumptown, was that it was the first time in a long time that the game drove player interaction. So how do you, like, for me, if I was going to improve Jumptown, I would be thinking about how to improve that player interaction and nothing else. And this dude's like already in the clouds, like getting AI involved. I don't know if that's what I would want. It could be fun, but I think what made Jumptown such a successful event was that none of that stuff was involved. It was just like, hey, go here and let's see what happens. I think they just need to maybe give us a few more tools to make it a little bit more interesting. For example, I don't know if we've had a Jumptown since they've lowered the signature on ground vehicles. What's going to happen with that now? Yeah, I mean, the A2 is still the A2.
But faction that owns the facility would generate missions for AI and players to help defend and or retake that facility. Circling back to why the labs need specialization, each lab will require the appropriate commodities to be supplied before the narcotics manufacturing process can start. Where you source your materials from will affect the quality of the end product, so players need to factor that into their...
See, so like he's coming from like, this is how it needs to be. But it would be really fun if what triggered Jumptown was you bringing the recipe and the right amount of the recipe to actually trigger the thing. But what I do understand about Jumptown is that it was a problem with the manufacturing process, right? That was the lore behind it, where it started spitting things out too quickly.
Supply chain logistics. The locations that will supply commodities for manufacturing narcotics.
Maybe you keep it going by supplying the narcotics to it?
Should also provide missions and gameplay for both lawful and unlawful players to supply and upkeep, as many of these commodities will have lawful and unlawful uses around the verse. Next, players will need to determine the right formulas and or mixtures of ingredients to affect the time, quality, and yield of narcotics the lab produces, similar to the refining process for mining. The value of the narcotics will be determined by their potency. 85% potency would be the baseline for selling, maxing out at around 99%. Anything below 85% would have no value. Each percentage increase in potency would see a percentage increase in the product's total value, creating a need for science gameplay for unlawful players. Faculty maintenance will be required to keep the operation running smoothly and efficiently. Wear and tear will be a factor, as well as components and modules needing to be replaced and or upgraded over time, positively and or negatively affecting the time, quality, and yield of the products produced.
I'm lost.
These components and modules can be damaged and or destroyed if the facility is attacked, and yes, this means it will cost money to run and operate these facilities as well. The same applies at facilities where the ingredients can be sourced from, so if upkeep is not maintained there, the quality of the source materials will decline, affecting the time, quality, and yield of the narcotics produced. For example, if a player creates a formula with a 99% potency, and suddenly that potency...
Yeah, this guy's just way smarter than me. I don't even know what's going on.
Drops from 99% to 94%, you will need to identify the source of that.
Think about this. Look at all this crazy shit he's saying. Does this sound fun? Because how I'm looking at it is like, oh my God, I'm going to need a spreadsheet to play Jumptown. When Jumptown was fun because you just went there and you didn't know what was going to happen. Now, I feel like what he's saying could be fun, but is it Jumptown? Right? Like, here, let's not poop on the guy too hard, guys, okay? Because I don't think what he's saying is exactly like way over the top or crazy, right? I think he's saying like, hey, I want to bring commodities to a place. I want there to be crafting in a way, right? It sounds like it's a lot of stuff like that, and there'll be quality, and quality could degrade, so on and so forth. Like, these are not like crazy ideas. The thing is like, I think he's missing the point of Jumptown, right? And I don't know if Jumptown necessarily should be triggered by an individual. Maybe it should, an individual company or org, but I feel like Jumptown should be more of a global thing that is triggered globally, since it's a global interaction kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I want to play a game and not start a second business. Well, here's the thing about Star Citizen, okay? Is you don't have to play this part of the game, but others do. And that's why I want to respect what this guy is saying in the video. Is there should be aspects of this in Star Citizen, but not everybody has to be a part of it. And that's the one thing about Star Citizens that I've been noticing, is that anytime we have discussion about any gameplay, they feel that they should be involved with it. I don't want to have to PvP. Well, you don't have to, okay? Just stay somewhere safe and don't go to dangerous areas. I don't want to have to do this kind of cargo hauling. Then don't do it, because others do, right? And that's the kind of thing, is that with Star Citizen, you should be able to do the things that you enjoy and allow others to do the things that they enjoy. And that's why I kind of want to respect his opinions here. Whatever he's talking about, I don't think it's Jumptown. I think it's something else. I know, Rainbow, but I'm using what you said as an example of like what a lot of people say for Star Citizen, is that they feel like when we discuss certain gameplay mechanics that they need to be a part of it, and you don't, you know? Like, I know you want to play everything because there is nothing to play, but at some point there's going to be your niche and there's going to be their niche. At least we hope.
Degradation.
Well, he's just explaining on how you would get it started. After it's going, it just needs upkeep. Yeah, I mean, in the end, but do you need like all this like big brain stuff to get it started? I think what was nice about Jumptown is it just was a thing that brought us together. And do we need all of this to bring us together? I don't think so. I think we should do that. The simple part should be bringing you together. The more difficult part should be maintaining it. Is just how I feel, but yeah.
It could be the facility needing maintenance or an issue somewhere up the supply chain. Either way, you and or your org will need to work out a way to resolve this. Players and organizations can either establish their own supply chains or use the established networks of the AI organizations, but at a cost. Because these operations can be run from...
Yeah, like he's still going on. I just feel like this is more of a long-term... like maybe how Outposts would work or something like that, but maybe not Jumptown.
Several locations around the verse simultaneously, and also be contested and controlled by both players and AI. It will dynamically create rivalries and territorial disputes among players and AI organizations around the verse. This should generate lots of opportunities for emergent gameplay and ways for solo players, groups, and organizations to find ways to get in on the action, lawfully and or unlawfully. With the addition of base building, players would have the opportunity to create drop points for smugglers to pick up and drop off their hauls to minimize traffic to and from the labs, reducing the risk of law enforcement locating and attempting to shut down the entire operation. Players would also be able to establish their own vertical supply chains, but will be 100% responsible for maintaining it. On the lawful side, this creates countless opportunities to disrupt the supply chain of illegal drug trafficking for solo players, groups, and organizations. Confiscate illegal contraband, for example, could be a myriad of missions, from simple drug busts on the streets to taking down an entire operation, which would take lots of planning, coordination, and manpower to achieve. Bonuses and reputation earned from turning in illegal contraband would vary based on the local law enforcement agency's policy on illegal goods. Also, if players and/or organizations are able to locate distribution centers, labs, they can attempt to shut down these operations themselves. Arresting and interrogating smugglers and/or
I feel like he's just talking about a single player game. Like, I just don't think any of the ideas he has are going to... They seem too concrete to involve players.
Recovering the black boxes from their ships should generate a chance that one or several locations can be revealed, generating a drug bust mission for players and/or orgs with the appropriate reputation level to accept. I am completely aware that this would require a lot of gameplay mechanics that are not in the game at this time, but when they are, CIG will need to consider how events like Jumptown are experienced by the players. I am of the mind that Jumptown should be less scripted and more of a dynamic underworld economic endeavor. It is something...
He's of the idea that Jumptown should be less scripted, and he literally just spent 6 minutes scripting it.
That would be high risk, high reward, and generate a lot of emergent PvEvP gameplay. It is also a system that can be used for many other professions on both sides.
It literally just pops a marker and is not scripted at all now. No, guys, he's saying how it would improve in the future. So, like, everything he said was, like, very, like, okay, you're going to have to do this and then do that and then do this. And there's 12 different steps. But then Jumptown, it just triggered and we all went to the same location. So, like, the Jumptown that we played wasn't scripted at all, but he wants it to be less scripted. Like, I understand that he wants it he wants more involvement from us in the process, and I agree with that. I don't necessarily agree with his takes on
sides of the law. But let me know in the comment section below what you think about the changes that I have presented. What are your thoughts about Jumptown? Have you participated? What changes would you make to Jumptown? Or do you think Jumptown is just fine as is?
I don't think Jumptown is just fine as is. I think we need to be involved in the triggering process, and I think it should be very difficult to do. What I've always said, and now that we actually have proper looting, is there should be an incredibly rare drop that drops a hacking chip that is specifically for a certain drug lab that could trigger the Jumptown event, which would be, oh, this thing is malfunctioning because somebody put a hacking chip in it. And then you could sell that hacking chip to people who want to run it or something like that. I think the triggering process should be difficult to achieve, but easy to do, because it's just meant to be a place that brings players together. Whether or not they PvP is entirely up to them. The conga lining at Jumptown was incredibly good. I thought it was stupid. It wasn't in the spirit of Jumptown in a way, but in reality, the spirit of Jumptown was, there is a way to make a lot of money here. Let's see what the players do with it. And what some players did was play nice and get in line, and what other players did was break up those lines or not play nice and take it over for themselves. So in general, I think it's putting everything in the hands of the player and not in some scripted game mechanics, or not in any sort of game mechanics, was the best choice for Jumptown. It was their most successful dynamic event by far, and the reason it was because there was no coding or anything crazy involved with it, like was mentioned in this video. So that's how I feel, is I think his ideas are good for something else. For PvE missions, I think his ideas make sense. For Jumptown, I don't agree. You know? But regardless, thank you for the video. I appreciate it. It was fun. I'm going to link to his channel here for more videos from him if you guys want to check him out. His name, again, is Certified Gumbo. So show him some love. And, yeah, you don't have to agree with him, but he definitely started a nice conversation for me, I think.